All right. This trip was taken, what period of time? 99, 2099, right?
1,999, 1999.
See, leave that one off. Anyway, this started way before this happened. But my dad, he always had good horses, and he loved riding. And when he got old and too old to ride and getting feeble, he says, I just wished I'd have got on a horse and rode until I got tired. And he never did do it. You know, and I thought, you know, there's a man's dream unfulfilled. Just kind of, I thought about it for a long time. And I used to say that when I was a little kid. I wished I'd have just rode for a long time. So that stayed with me. And then of course when he died, it just kind of was always in the back of my head. And we got involved with this muzzleloader club, and I always liked old guns and stuff like that, and sent for a kit and made one. Put the kit together, and then I saw some that guys had made and really did a good job, and it just said, I'm going to do that. Well, I did some of that, and I got some fairly nice rifles in it, but then I'd ride a horse down to the rendezvous area where we gathered and had tents and stuff like that, and it come back to me, you know, that I'm gonna do that. So I did. Really started getting serious about it. Sit down and when we took a trip, we had it all drawn out. Mom, do you have that map?
No.
Anyway, we set out a trip on that map, and where we'd have to go and stuff, and what we would probably come up to that we would be having a hard time getting around it. Well, we had a Bronco 4-wheel drive, and we took it up. We went past what's the Cripple Creek area right in there, and where we had to go, they didn't have any other dirt roads or not very well used road we could use it. Well, we got up there and with our Bronco and up high in the mountains, and Ann and I was writing on the map where we got to go to this intersection here and start up the dirt road. And we ended up, when we got that far, it was getting late on time, and we weren't going to make it across that peak, that high spot where we was going through. It was an old dirt road, but it was available. But it was just, we needed to get somewhere quick. Well, when we had some horse trailers and stuff like that were over at our son-in-law's place, and after we got trailered across, we went back to the horses and was going to take what they call the Coffee Cup Trail on the north side of I-70 and we had to cross I-70. Had to go under the bridge where you go across it. Say they're losing the town. Don't make any difference. We went through a town and got on the other side and called my son-in-law and told him where our trailer was at, that we need him to go pick it up and help us. We're going to have to get a trailer right across the highway. We couldn't get across. And we got them, finally got across their ways where we could ride some. It was just, things weren't really working out like I thought, because we didn't get to go through and guide ourselves on that Coffee Pot Trail going up around I-70 on the north side. So anyway, when we got in contact with him, told him to come get the horses and us, we're going to need to find our pickup where it got left. That was in Leadville, Colorado. So I rode up into Leadville and we had another friend from Colorado Springs that moved the pickup ahead, and he parked it in the schoolhouse yard up in Leadville, and didn't know where anything was at, and really didn't know where the pickup was at. So I thought I told him to leave it at the county shop and leave the trailer there. Come through there, rode right past a chain gang. They were talking trash to me. Hey, cowboy, says, how about a ride? All that kind of stuff, you know. Says we need a ride. It was out there cleaning up the highway and stuff like that. Anyway, we got past that deal and I thought I was where those prisoners were cleaning up and stuff. I thought that's where the pickup was supposed to be. And then I asked the guards that were in charge, and says, well, I was supposed to pick up a pickup that had a horse trailer on it. I'm thinking, you know, it was supposed to be in this yard, in a county parking spot where they had maintainers and stuff like that. And he says, well, we haven't seen no pickup here. So I started riding, and I said, somewhere I'm gonna get to a place to get somebody to tell me where somebody might park a pickup and a horse trailer in this town. And he says, well, you're gonna need to ride down to the fire place, and there was something else there that would surely know where I was at. And anyway, I got down there, got off, and went in and talked to him. He says, well, why don't you go over there to the library and ask that lady over there, she'll know. I'm going down through this treats with I had a loaded pistol in hanging on my saddle horn right here. You know, and I went right through the middle of that chain gang bunch. This looked at it a little bit nervous, you know, because they wasn't watching me. But when I got down there, the sheriff's office and the fire department and stuff like that, they said, well, somebody parked a pickup with a horse trailer on it over in the back on the other side of town where you come from. It was about 2 blocks to the south or the west. And he said, "That's you go back over there, you find that schoolhouse. There's a black pickup with a black trailer on it, long one. That's it." And I rode clear back through there, and the people in the streets were awesome. You know, I come through with all this clothes on, not this, but I mean cowboy stuff, or the mountain man look, and rode through there, and they got right out in the street and had the street blocked, and they wanted to pet the horses, and they wanted to know all about the ride and where I went, where I'm going, who's going with me, and just, I wished I could get a ride. Every one of them little kids wanted to pet the horses. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a wreck. But them kids didn't have a brain in their head. But them horses were so rolled out, they'd cross between their legs and stuff. Lord have mercy. And I finally got away from them, because they was touching and feeling that pistol that was on the. Hey, I said, back off! Don't be messing around with that. You know, hey, this is a real cowboy. I tried to handle it and then not get snotty with them or anything. It just was kids. So anyway, I got away and got loaded up, and we rode the horses back further west, where my daughter and her husband and kids lived there. And they had where did we have the horses?
They had a little pasture out
In
across the creek.
Yeah. I was thinking back where they moved after that, but anyway, it was in what's the name of the creek?
East Elk Creek, where they lived?
Yeah,
East Elk Creek.
East Elk Creek. That's where and it had a good long big pasture, had alfalfa growing out there. And the horses were pretty rolled out. And I thought this was going to work pretty good, so we got a gate open and turned them in there, and they got fresh water in the East Creek. And you say
East Elk
East
Creek.
Elk Creek. Yeah. Anyway, we decided that Ann and I decided, you know, we didn't get our ride finished like we wanted to, but let's take the back way in from here and ride back up in where we would have come out at. And we did. And there was a place called East Creek,
Boiler Creek.
Boiler
Creek. That's what it's
Boiler
called.
Creek. Boiler Springs? That's
Yeah.
what it was. Boiler Springs. And it was a steam engine that was used to mine, to push water, and I don't know what, it was a steam engine, and they got them, how they got up there, I can't figure that out, because we took the trail up there, and we had some on your camera that we had the horses walking on the trail going up, and Steve, oh my God,
And
they took that steam engine up there with mules. You told it. And the only thing left of it was just, it was blew up, I guess. But because the boiler part of it, the just like a steam engine, that's what it was, steam engine. And it was laying in the Boiler Springs Creek, what they call the creek. Boiler Springs, and that was the head of the water where it started building, coming out and running. It was an awesome ride up from the backside going up there. We had to go around this one mountain. We went up there, and Ann was with me at this point again, and we got up there, and she had the best horse, most. I mean, I wasn't going to put my mind with her on one of them mules. Frosty was
my mule.
but she was got any place water was running, she stayed away from it. We had a real hard time crossing the creek with her. We stayed at this one place that they call the Boiler Creek Springs Salt Ranch. And that's what they did. They mined salt, and they had great big boilers with tubs, cast iron tubs, real big, and that water was coming through there, and there was a lot of just salt, just like a hard skim of salt. It had water, and it just, you could break it, little crunchies, and put it in them big pots and fill them up with water and boil them out. Clean the scum off the top, and they got their salt. It's, what was the town down the road from there?
Cripple Creek?
No. It was
Hartzell?
Hartzell. You know where Hartzell's at, don't you? Well, if you go west out of Colorado Springs on that highway, you'll come to Hartzell.
About 50 miles.
And that Boiler Springs is,
Saltworks Ranch.
it's probably all fallen down, but nothing gets cleaned up there. Once it gets down, you'll still see evidence of it. And that was the Hartzell Ranch? No,
No, that was the Saltworks Ranch,
Saltworks Ranch.
west of Hartzell.
Yeah, that's where we stayed for a couple nights anyway, until we got oriented and rested up a little bit, and the horses watered down good and feeding. And first day out of, when we left there, got lost. I don't know. I had all these high fluting maps that had trails back in there, stuff like that, and I thought, well, we'll ride up there, and if we get lost, just turn around and come back. And we got lost. We turned around and come back, and I wasn't going to ride back further than that ranch. I wasn't going to go back there again. They treated us nice, really nice. They had fed us once, and just good people. And they had a lady come out from that town of
Fairplay.
Fairplay.
The lady that did the newspaper article
Yeah,
was from Fairplay.
yeah, and that's her story. But you can take that with you later on. Let's get back when you get done. But we stayed there, what, two or three nights?
Yeah.
And then our Michael, who was a good friend, he used to live in Dodge, and he was the one that put my pickup back there at the schoolyard. He'd come out and helped us. He rode a little ways too, but he couldn't keep that up either. So
He rode
took
from
our
Colorado
pickup.
Springs to the Salt Works Ranch. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we got our way through there. He marked the places where you needed to go, and that worked out excellent.
Kind of about falling in the bog.
Huh?
Kind of about Frosty falling through the bog.
You was riding.
You tell him. It's your
Tell the
baby.
story. See, that mule was an ace in the hole. She really was. Nice. She took care of Ann. And I mean that physically. That mule behaved tremendously and knew she was a new rider until she got out there and got used to her and stuff. And she really had a good time. I'm so thankful that I had my wife along. It was just an awesome trip. And the putting this thing together, we had to figure out, is Ann going to go on this? And how we're going to get this done? Well, she'd been working on it with VA and whoever else she needed to talk to, and got time off. Just different people that helped us. Chris Sortle, he was in on the ride too. He went from home to Eads, Colorado. Yeah. And his wife come and got him.
No, I come got you, and the other mule was messing up, and we brought him home.
That's right. Yeah, the one knot-headed mule, we sent him back. So that left me alone for a while. I was sitting across the road from an elevator at
Sylvan Lake.
what was it?
Sylvan
What
Lake. Sylvan Lake, I think is the name of it. Sheridan Lake. Sheridan Lake.
Sheridan Lake.
Yeah.
And I was across the road in a wide ditch, and another guy, this guy come along and says, "Well, why don't you put horses and stuff on the inside of the fence?" I says, "Well, I didn't know who to ask or anything." He said, "Well, I'm the guy. I own that. Put your stock in there, and you won't have to worry about whether they're on the highway or not." And there was people like that just stepped right out, and said, "Hey, this same guy," Chris was still there then though. He said they're having a harvest dinner. They were there, all the harvest workers and stuff like that. There's an old high school building back off the road a ways, you can't even see it, but they have a little kitchenette thing in there, and he says, "You need to go over there and get your dinner. You can buy a good dinner over there." So we got the horses and brought them, saddled them, went over there and had a good home cooked meal. And it was just a wonderful people on this whole trip. They wanted to talk to you. They wanted to touch the horses and see what we're doing and how far have we been and how long have we been. Wanted to know if the coyotes are howling at night and stuff. And so, oh yeah, they were. You know, of course, you add a little to it. Then you really make yourself a hero. Some of them are they just ask for it. What do you think I would do? Oh, I'm not going to tell you the rest of it. Anyway, when we left the Salt Works Ranch, we had some. No, that was before. I was still at the Salt Works Ranch. We had to change our mind of just how we was going to get over on the other side of the pass. And as we rode up there we come up to a road that was used to cross the mountains, a dirt road. Drive it if you had to. And we took off there. We stopped there one night. There was a fishing lodge there, I think. That's what it was. And we rode up there to the house and asked them if we could make a tent right there by your barn and put the horses in the corral, stuff like that, and water them, and we had feed to feed them. And she says, "Oh yeah, we come out." She got their kids out there just the day before, and there's a big old red hip roof barn there, and the kids were told to go out there and clean that up. They didn't know we were coming, but they had just cleaned it, and all heavy wooden floors, and swept out and cleaned up nice. We come in and stalls were all clean, nice hard floor, no shit on it or nothing like that. And we throwed our blankets down there and saddle blankets, and then throw our poncho down on it so we didn't have the wet blanket or something like that. Put it down on there, covered up. Had our meal. We had packed a lot of dry stuff along, but the folks, when the kids come out there, them little boys will come out, they just wanted to ride them horses. They wanted to get on them horses. I'd pick them up, put them on a horse. They would stand there and go like a horse girl, bouncing around. I don't mean jumping or anything like that. They was just tickled to death to get on a horse. But they had pastures open there for horses and stalls. And this was amazing, the way things, and people opened their home to you. We not, just one guy opened his home to us, and the rest of it, and I didn't ask him to. I really didn't want to, but every place gets you in and out of the rain. They got a barn out there, get in the barn, sleep in the barn. That's what we did most. Not most of it. We spent a lot of time on the ground, going out there, and I'm always amazed when I think back at how many people, how interested they were. Where do we start? How do we do this? How do we do that? Where do you eat? And where are you going next? You know, you could have been a full-time tourist hero if you just stop and go. Tell them, that's a couple dollars. Tell you all kinds of stuff. No, I don't do that. I think there was when Ann started with me, and that was Hartle.
No, I come to Sheridan Lake and Eads. That's where I started.
Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to think of that place there where we was going to start up in the mountains and cross in the first big
The first
climb.
time when you couldn't get across Colorado Springs, the corner of Colorado Springs.
Yeah,
We had been to Cripple Creek, and then we were going to go across, or we had to go across before we went to Cripple Creek. We had a trailer there because we couldn't get across Colorado Springs. They wouldn't let us.
and we went when we was doing this first drive-through, marking down where things are going to get blocked up, and when we knew for sure well, this is the route we're going, we went and got the permission to do it. And a part of it was the northwest corner of Fort Carson is the only damn place you could get up close and get on the road to go up over. There was no other trails along the west side of the fort. And it just, we had the maps that would show you where they used to be, but there was nothing
They're all
left.
private now.
But anyway, I decided on the only way we can do it, the town of Carson wouldn't let us go through the corner of the lock. That's all we needed, just to, maybe a half a block, just cut it in half and take a road and go through, and then you get up on that road that goes up to Cripple Creek. That's all just a winding around tight road going up the road. Couldn't go there.
Colorado. We had permission to cross Fort Carson, but we couldn't.
Yeah, we rode in and
cross Colorado
talked to the man, the big sergeant, main guy that could do that. And went in and talked to him, visited him, showed him what we got planned and where we need to go. He says, "When are you going to do this?" He starts digging out his agenda, what he's got going. He says, "I want to go with you." He says, "I'll lead you personally across Fort Carson." And he says, "We can get through here somewhere. We can get through here somewhere." And I wasn't going to leave somewhere where we can last a little while if I don't have a for sure way to get up in above Colorado Springs. I wasn't going to go back. I made it a point not to go back anywhere. It's just going to have to be left. So that's one thing I wished I would have went back and talked to that man and that first sergeant of that Carson. But he was a good man. He showed us around where he thought he could get up through, but only on foot, all kind of a thing, and horses wouldn't be a doable deal. Just too steep and too rocky, and we just couldn't do that on horseback. But that trail was maybe 6 blocks off the corner of Colorado Springs. Couldn't go. Wouldn't let you go. And I bet you if he'd have been along, we would have went. When we got to Colorado Springs, some good friends of ours, through the muzzleloader connection, he moved my pickup around in front of me some. Him and his wife would get that up to where we needed it and stuff. And he says, Dave, he said, I'd like to ride a little bit. Well, we still had, at that point in time, we could put one of the pack animals, take his load off and put us at, we had an extra saddle in the trailer. And we put that saddle on him. What horse did he take?
I don't know.
He could have took any of them,
Yeah.
but Cappy. I wouldn't know. Cappy was the one that went down
It's
on him.
kind of ornery, yeah.
And when I was talking about this Cappy, he was a huge horse, 16 hands, and he had racing blood in him, and he was just always when we could just go at an easy pace, he could make things happen, and sometimes he can make things happen you don't want to happen. And he went over backwards on me up around, what's the name of those lakes? Hartzell Lake?
7 Mile Lake. 11 Mile Lake was, we were closest to 11 Mile Lake. Got close to Hartzell, yeah. He went backwards on me.
But he went on there, and there was some Mexican cowboys in there. They was watching us go by, and when that went over backwards like that, that horse was standing up there, straight up there on his back feet, and I bailed off, and it still had my hands with the reins in it, and give him a good mouth jerk, and he just come right over backwards right on the saddle, and I was standing there right next to him, and them guys was over there, Andale, something like that, and just going on. So there was a lot of weird things happening, and just but anyway, I got back in the saddle before he got up. He had to stand up with me in his saddle. Or you got memories coming in anywhere?
No.
Anyway,
Keep going.
we finally got back together, I don't know how, with, he was moving our pickup.
Elmer, he rode with us for a week.
Yeah, somewhere, where was that at?
From Cripple Creek to the Salt Work Ranch. And then his wife came and got him.
Yeah.
She brought the pickup out and came and got him.
Yeah. And I met, he used to live, him and his wife used to live at Buckland. And he was born and raised there. And they were good friends through the Muzzleloader Club. And he was really a good man. Just trying to help all he could, you know, with places to go up and go through, and when we got up to Cripple Creek, we had connections made there with the old Tiller County hospital. It's there on the north side of Cripple Creek. Big, 2-3 story house.
Probably.
It looked like a house, but it was a hospital, old time. And
And it was a lodge now. I mean, at that time, it was a
but anyway,
place for people to stay.
they had a pasture on the west side of it that had water close by, and we could water the horses good and let them eat, and have them surrounded by a fence where we don't have to tie them up for the night. And we got up the next day, and that Elmer Weichel was his name, that was helping us go through there, and he took us down to the casinos, and
We had breakfast down there.
he had to put down some money and got a bunch back, didn't he?
Yeah, he said, I'm gonna gamble enough to get us a tank of gas, and so he played blackjack till he had enough to get a black tank of gas in the pickups.
So somebody's helping us here. Then when we got up and started riding away from there, we started down towards the 11-mile lake, they call it.
11-mile reservoir, I believe it's called on the map.
Something like that. Anyway, it was going through there, and that just seemed like a forever ride. It was more than 11 miles.
Well, I don't know where that 11-mile reservoir was 11 miles from, I don't know. But we stayed at that one place where the hippie people were. They were originally from Wichita.
Tell the story, Mom.
And they had a greenhouse that had gotten smashed down in the last snow. And kind of was like living off the land sort of people. And they had an old school bus out there that we slept in that night. They fed us duck eggs the next morning for breakfast. It was interesting.
I was really disappointed that when we started up thinking we're gonna meet Elmer on the other side of this mountain, that was that mountain looked like, from a distance, like a big old buffalo laying down. It's got a good kind of formation of the head looking south, laying down, and that big old hump on the back. And that, remember what that name was?
Buffalo Peaks. Those two
Buffalo
mountains were called
Peaks.
Buffalo Peaks.
See if you can find them in here, Em.
I don't know if I have a picture of them in there. Let's see. I have a picture of Buffalo Peaks somewhere, but I don't know if it's in this.
You know, the thing that amazed me the most are some of the nicest people in the world that been on that road. Get back there, and people was interested in what you're doing and wishing you luck and trying to help you somewhere. If you go this way, you could, you know. And I kept that in my mind. Keep your head on what you're doing. But he probably did know a better way, but There, you can sure as hell get lost too. Go through here and see all numbers. Anyway, Weston Pass is where we went across. I don't know if you're familiar with any of that or not. But that's where we stopped the night, that night before. We stayed with that barn, and them kids come out there at night, and they had cleaned that barn up, you know, and they wanted to ride them horses. They wanted to ride them horses. And pick them up, throw them on a horse, and bareback, you know, and just let them stand there. Couldn't get them to go, and the whiskey was, he was a kid to horse. Them kids would be in there and they would say, look like they were doing the splits. And he was trying to kick and it was just, he didn't have long enough legs. Here's a better picture of that Buffalo Peaks. What did I call that, Weston Pass?
Weston Pass is what we went over. Definitely a Jeep road. We got over it with our Bronco the year before, but man, it was pretty iffy.
Here's a good picture of the man that went with us on this black short. Give me the name.
Who, Elmer?
Elmer
Elmer
Michael.
Michael? Yeah.
Good man. He and his wife both. That's him right there.
He looks like Mountain Man.
Yeah, he was dressed like a They was all,
Yeah, he
we
was
all had
always,
guards like that because
most
he
of
was
these
with the
guys
muzzleloaders.
that went with us and stuff like that, and him that looked the head for us like he did. He was a muzzleloader person too. And here's that old barn place in Hartsel. This was the Salt Works Ranch barn, and it was the chimney where they had the fires in to keep the water simmering to boil the water off the salt. And this was the house.
Apparently that had been a great big ranch at one time and gotten sold off, and some of the
There's
kids
the-
were trying to put something back
There's the
together.
barn on this ranch, and this was the house. And they had a propane explosion in the house. All the roofing is pulled the nails and left they put it back together. We've been by there, and it's all fixed up. They give us the run of the place. It says go in the buildings and look around. We sure as heck did.
They had a blacksmith shop that was part of their ranch that we probably could have gone in and started using. It probably hadn't been used in 50 years.
But we finally, at Cripple Creek. Isn't that where the gambling is?
Yeah,
That's where Elmer,
that's where Elmer started riding with us.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he says, let's go down, we gotta spend some money on the deal while we're here. I wanted so damn bad to ride down Main Street and get off and go in with some money put in the deal and get me a blowout. Walk away with some cash.
That didn't happen.
Didn't happen. This is Elmer right here. He's dead now. All these guys are gone. Here's the packing up what we left there. Horses around. Pack horses.
Every morning when we packed, he had a scale, and we'd pack stuff in each saddle, or what do you call it, pannier,
Pannier.
and he'd scale so it's kind of even on both sides of the horse so we didn't get them sore. So it took us about an hour to get packed and saddled up and ready to go.
I did a lot of studying on how to do it, and especially with the pack saddles and stuff. That's on the other side of the pass once you go. Here's the,
That pass comes out of Leadville to the east, and it's kind of a halfway decent road till you get to the summit, and it's
I
got the
can't
heck
see
hand
what the-
basket.
can't see what the elevation says.
11,000 something.
You know that, huh?
Well, I just read it off
You
of
read
that.
it?
Where do you see that?
Oh, it's pretty small. It's hard to read. 11,921.
All right, good enough. I believe you.
That's getting up there pretty high.
Yeah, it's high, and that day we started out at the bottom of the pass in shirt sleeves, and by the time we got to the top, it had rained and snowed on us. We had our big coats and a what do you call it?
Poncho.
Poncho on.
There's our nighttime ground. Put the saddles and all the gear and stuff like that with a big canvas up, and we lay on the ground and sleep and put it over the top, cover everything up. I was kind of worried there at that old place there, because did we see a bear the day before when we were riding, or?
No, we didn't, but we figured it was bear country. We was in a valley, pretty narrow. I mean, if they wanted to come through, they was gonna have to come right through where we were at.
Had my pistol along.
The only bears we saw were on, gosh, the east side of Hartselle. We saw a bear one day. And that was way east of the divide yet, so.
This is when we get down to where Ray and Annie are daughter and son-in-law. There's East Elk Creek, what was, or what?
Yeah, that's the path we went up to get there. There's some pictures of that boiler here somewhere too. There it is. They drug that crazy thing up the mountain with mules.
When we went up there to see it, the trail was probably as wide as
That.
that, and steep and rocky. Then there was a road that went around the side of the mountain.
I would have taken a vehicle on it though.
Did you get a picture of the cat or
The
Dolly
horse,
when she was?
when she was eating off the side, I don't remember if I did or not. I was riding this crazy horse, and it was up this way here, about that wide a path, and down that way. And there was grass growing on the edge, of course. And
He
she'd there.
walked over there and
It went almost straight down. She'd come up there and she'd drop her head down and eat. Drop her head down and eat. Oh, jeez. You about covered it there, dear, I think.
saw some snow up on top.